Now, on top of the standard Azure AD roles that both Azure and Microsoft 365 has access to, there are also specialized roles that are oriented towards a particular service that is this part of all of this. And I want to show some of that to you now. And these are all interesting because they're also sometimes referred to as role groups, where you're taking multiple roles and combining it together in a group. By assigning somebody that role group, you're then giving them access to all those permissions. So let me show you a little bit about that right now. Here I am on portal.microsoft.com. I'm going to click the Show All ellipse symbol, and we're going to start by going to the Action Center here, or Admin Center called Security, which actually brings us into the Microsoft 365 Defender area of our services. All right, so this is Microsoft 365 Defender. This is an area where we have a lot of security features available to us for securing our environment, analyzing the security of our environment. I'm not going to get into a lot of depth on that right now, but that's how it is kind of as an overview. Now, if we scroll down on this list here, we'll see towards the bottom there's a blade called Permissions, and if we click that, this is where we're going to see that there are some roles available to us. So we have Defender roles, Azure AD roles, endpoint roles, email and collaboration roles, and cloud apps. We're talking about Defender right now, so we'll click on the roles area there. And then when we get in here, it's going to give us the opportunity to create a role group. So we can click to create a custom role. They give you an example, security analyst. So we could do that. Call it security analyst. All right. So then we'll click next. And then, so here is the permission groups we can choose from. So like security operator, I could say, well, let's do select all read and manage permissions on that if we want. Or we could set custom. So we'll say custom, and let's say security data basics read. We'll say you can manage alerts and response. And I realize you may not know what all this stuff is right now, but that's okay. Quarantine emails, and that'll be great. Let's leave it at that. Now let's go ahead and add some stuff here as well for posture. Select custom, let's see, vulnerability management, and let's do remediation and security baselines. All right. And then authorization and settings, let's just do read all permissions on that one. So there you go. We've configured what we wanted. We can click next now. And if we wanted to assign somebody this role, we would do that here. From there, I forgot, we do need to assign somebody. So we'll assign myself, even though I actually have global admin rights, but I'm the only one with the license right now, so that's why I'm assigning myself. And then from there I would select, there we go. And it's being slow to load me for some reason, to find me, but there it is. So we'll add, and now we'll click next. We've set what we wanted. We can click submit, and there you go. We've now assigned that role group to that. So that is an example of doing this on the Defender side, giving permissions that way. Let's jump back over, and I want to show you compliance now. So if we go back over to portal.microsoft.com and we click compliance, this brings us into Microsoft Purview, formerly known as the Compliance Center. All right. So Microsoft Purview is an area where compliance is the big deal, making sure that our environment and the devices and the users are doing what they're supposed to be doing. So if we look right here, though, it says roles and scopes. We can drop that down. We can click on permissions, and we have this area right here, Microsoft Purview Solutions Roles. And by the way, I didn't say this, and I know you've heard me say this before probably, but just be advised, this is another area that changes, it seems like, every week. So your screen could look a little different than mine. Again, this is something we all got to get used to. These screens change all the time. So it may look a little different. They might rename a button or something, but hopefully it's not too difficult for you. But I do try to keep my videos updated. So here we are, though, and you can see you have some built-in groups here. For example, I've got a built-in role group. You have a built-in role group called eDiscovery Manager, for example. So if I wanted to, e-discovery manager is somebody that can actually do forensics reports and stuff, gather evidence and things like that. I could actually click that, and if I wanted to assign somebody that privilege, I can do that. That's you can assign users these roles. You can edit. You can click edit. You can choose which users that you want to give this right out to. Select a user. Click next. Okay, and then you can also make somebody what's called a e-discovery administrator. All right. So this is, if you go back, you can see the e-discovery manager can only view and edit cases within e-discovery, whereas e-discovery administrator can view and edit all cases regardless of permissions. So I could choose somebody to do that. All right. So then I'll click next, click save, and I've now made a change. All right. So this is the purview side of it. So as you can see on both the defender and the purview side of this, there are some specialized role groups that you can either create or you can use. In this case, I've got some that are pre-built that I can use. I could create one though if I wanted to. All right, so that is another nice little feature. So purview has its own roles. Defender, you can create roles. And the last thing I want to show you is involving roles. Let's go back over to portal.microsoft.com and let's drop down where it says roles and go back over to role assignment. There are, if you look right here under Azure AD, you'll see these are the roles I already showed you, but you can click on Exchange. All right, and you can see that there are roles specifically laid out for Microsoft Exchange here. So these are what Microsoft likes to call Microsoft 365 workloads. Microsoft 365 workload means that you have roles that are specially designed, for that service. So these are all related to Exchange right here. Okay, and right here you've got Intune. So Intune being Microsoft's MDM solution, here are the roles associated with Intune. And there's even a billing role that you can assign to people in the billing department or finance department at your company to assist with dealing with the billing side of things. So anyway, that's one of the other nice little things we have. So all in all, let's summarize. We have Azure AD roles, which are roles that are general to everything that is attached to Azure AD, which both the Azure side of things as well as Microsoft 365 side of things, they all go down to they all link back to the Azure AD roles. You can give permissions out in general, sort of like the general roles for everything, using Azure AD and the Microsoft 365 side of things. Okay, you have the same roles on both of those. There are roles related to Defender, which can be found in the security right here. And that is roles that you can create, role groups. You can group role permissions together into a role group and assign that to somebody, specifically for Defender. Then the purview side of things, that's where compliance and all that's managed. There are specific roles that are just for the compliance side of all this, for managing compliance. And again, even though you may not know a whole lot about Defender or a whole lot about Purview right now, just know that each one of those have roles that are specialized for the jobs that you get out of that area of Microsoft 365. And then finally, there are specialized roles for certain workloads in Microsoft 365, Exchange being a workload, Intune being a workload. And then, of course, billing being involving finance for somebody who's going to manage the billing side of all of this. Okay. All right. And so I highly recommend, you kind of just jump in and familiarize yourself a little bit with roles. If you've set up a tenant, you can kind of play around with it and get some hands-on experience with it.